We got everyone today. Joe, we got Jeff. Thumbs up, Sam. All right, hey, Jeff. Good morning. Earl Spadoni, Shasky here. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Like that, like, take me through it. Like, what was the call like when you got it, and how shocked were you by that announcement? Like, was it on your radar at all, being a Hall of Famer?
Well, I don't even know if you want to call it a radar. It was just a thought. Pressured by my agent had called me. We talked about it a week or so ago and said, hey, this thing might happen. You might want to deal with it. I said, no. I don't want to deal with anything. I'm going to let it go. We're at my ranch here in Texas, hunting and fishing with some friends that had come in here for the week. So we were actually cooking dinner. I was putting salt and garlic on bread and toast in the oven, and just happened to pick my phone up to set the timer so I wouldn't burn the toast. And I realized that somebody was calling me, and I picked the phone up and got the call. So I was overwhelmed, shocked, and just just a flood of emotions just came running at me, and it hit me like a freight train. I'm telling you, man, it was a shocker, absolute shocker.
You know what? We're all I speak for Giants fans in their 40s. We're all thrilled that you're in and that you're getting the recognition that was just due. I just saw you on the College World Series stage. You were sitting in the stands like a focused dad, and just watching your son play. And so I hadn't seen you in so long, but it was that same steely-eyed, focused look that you had there in the stands, watching your son go off. And he ended up getting drafted by the Yankees, and so that's pretty cool. So we're thrilled for you. And I want to go back to '97 because I know you got traded for David Cohn early in your career, from Toronto to the Mets. Then you go to Cleveland, and look, like I said, I was in going into high school at that time. And Matt Williams was our guy. We loved Matt Williams, and it was a shocking trade for Giants fans. And you not only do they bring you in, they bring Vizcaino in. They also trade for JT Snow and bring in Darrell Hamilton that year. And you guys were the catalyst of winning over this area and taking the team to the playoffs that year. What was it about landing in San Francisco where it all clicked for you?
Well, Ned Colletti and Brian Sabian at the top, put that deal together with all those great players. They were good dudes. You talk about the fact that they were good players. Everybody on that was brought in were all good dudes, and we all gelled together. There were a lot of pieces that came together in that year that, in hopes, around Barry, in hopes that we would play well because the team, was struggling to stay in San Francisco. So, we got together with, I think, the best manager in the game in Dusty Baker. Dusty Baker was able to manage all those different personalities that came in early, manage mine, manage Barry, two different spectrums. JT, Jose Vizcaino was the best middle infield partner that I ever had too. We double play a combination threat that was monstrous, and we ended up playing well because of Dusty Baker. He was for me personally, Dusty was that guy that took my game to the next level. He just didn't accept who I was. He wanted more from me. He wanted more that pushed great success for me. He wanted more of my energy. He wanted more talent out of my offensive game. He wouldn't let up. He kept pushing and pushing and pushing, and I was able to respond.
Your swing felt so perfect for both ballparks, but I want to go to Candlestick originally. That kind of middle away approach that you have. I mean, you drove the ball so well. What was it about Candlestick where it clicked? Because everyone looks at home run numbers. You hit a ton of doubles in both ballparks, and I think it was your approach, similar to the way Buster swings the bat or used to swing the bat, that middle away approach. Was Dusty a part of that, kind of tweaking that swing?
Well, when I came to San Francisco, I was more of a dead pull hitter. When I got to San Francisco, Candlestick, Dusty said, hey, stop hitting the ball to right field and drive it. He said, there's a jet stream out there at Candlestick in that right center gap. That's a place where you can drive the ball and hit the ball to the wall. So he wouldn't take no for an answer. He said, you want your batting average to increase? You got to go the other way, kid. You got to start driving the ball out there. Don't just hit it, drive it. So I got this mentality from him of just driving the ball, and use that jet stream out there to right center. And my batting average started to go from 250, 270, 280, 300. Just kept creeping up as I evolved as a hitter, and I took advantage of it. And I was kind of a mechanical type ball player too. You give me reasons why, or if I understand the reasoning behind things, it's more apt for me to do them rather than just accept it because I'm, this big tough guy. I'm just going to battle through it. But I wanted to play the mechanics of the game, and that was one of them there at Candlestick, and just carried it over to the new ballpark that they built for us in downtown area.
Incoming member of the National Baseball Hall of Fame, Jeff Kent, joining us here on the Morning Roast, courtesy of the River Islands Guest Line, NL MVP in 2000, 5-time All-Star, 4-time Silver Slugger Award winner. What's your favorite moment as a Giant, Jeff? Favorite moment or moments, if you have a couple of them?
Well, people have been asking me that question over the last 24 hours about what my favorite moment was. Let me better explain it to people. I'm a half-empty guy. I'm always looking at the bad side of things, always wanting to know what the problem is so I can fix it. And one thing that I could never fix was Game 7 World Series against the Angels. I'm a Game 7 loser, and Game 5 in San Francisco had to have been one of the most favorite games that I've ever played in my entire life. We just kicked the crap out of the Angels in Game 5. The fans were awesome. We had to tell everybody goodbye because we had to go back to Anaheim and play the Angels for 2 games. And we're winning Game 6, and then we lose Game 6, and then we turn around and lose Game 7. And those 3 games, but more specifically, Game 7, when you're taking your jersey off and you're going, I'm done. I just lost the last game. Those are the ones that burn your heart so bad you never forget. Now, yeah, they're great memories, but if you're asking me a question that's not specific to the positive side, what's my favorite memory? It's not a favorite, but it's my most memorable time is taking my jersey off after Game 7 losing. But if you go back just a couple days, Game 5 in San Francisco was freaking awesome.
What would you, two-run homers in that game, if memory serves?
I don't know how many, but 2 home runs, yes, but I don't know how many ribbies came with it. But I remember just kicking the crap out of them, and I knew we had pushed them into the ground. And I don't know what the hell happened in the next 2 games, but we just didn't do it.
I know. Scott Spezio, don't even start me. It drives me nuts. The rally monkey. I mean,
damn monkey.
Garrett Anderson, Troy Gloss. They were great, but you guys, so frustrating. I know. Do you guys ever, amongst yourselves, I don't know who you're texting or talking to on the team, did you maybe want Kirk Reeder to go Game 7? I don't know. LeVon was such a good playoff performer at that point. I don't know. The woulda, coulda, shouldas that you talk about, the losses stick with you forever, and is that something you ever considered?
That they burned me, and you wonder if Dusty wouldn't have taken the ball from Russ Ortiz at the end. That stupid little thing. Those things really didn't matter, but you play it over and over and over in your head, and it never ends. And when the Giants finally won their first, their first World Series with Posey, and then they won it again 2 more times, you're going, holy shit, why couldn't we do that?
Yeah, I know. I feel you on that. When was the last time you talked with Bonds? You referenced him a couple of times in this one. I think you're one of the great 1-2 punches of all time. You guys were incredible. The way that you would make teams pay for, walking him and putting him on. RBIs are a huge thing. And I know you know this. You're old school. Driving runs in is how you win games. And I think we've kind of devalued it, and it's ridiculous to me. And you were the ultimate clutch RBI guy from that era. When was the last time you guys had a talk?
I don't even remember. It's been so long. Wow. It probably maybe we saw each other at a reunion years ago for our team, 2000 team. But I'm trying to think as I'm looking off in the sky. Man, it's been a long time. Barry and I cross paths every now and then on phone call. Not personally talking, but through intermediaries. But I see him every now and then on TV talking. I watched him coach for a couple of years in the big leagues, and It's not for any reason. It's just he lives in California, I live in Texas, and if you'd ask me how many times I talked to some of my other teammates, probably just as much as I talked to Barry. So it's not a Barry thing. It's just his life was stayed in California, and I left it and went back home.
Yeah, no, I get that. I was warmed to see so many Giants fans remember the great times and really they were standing ovations. It was great to see. And look, you go to the Dodgers. Everyone's going to lose their minds. You know this. And there was a lot of love, no love lost. Let's just put it that way for a period of time. Has the reception, though, from Giants fans, has that warmed you a little? I mean, I know you said you're kind of a pessimist by nature, but I'm happy to see Giants fans give you your just due because we do still love you.
No, they always did, and I expected them to boo me. One of my favorite moments in Major League Baseball is I believe it was opening day where the Giants played the Dodgers, and I was in the opening day lineup for the Dodgers, and I got introduced out on the line, and they booed the piss out of me, and it was fun. I loved every minute of it because I knew all those people, if they were to come down on the field, they'd hug me. They'd probably rip my hat off and jersey off and then hug me, but I that's what I appreciated about the San Francisco fans is they knew who the enemy was and they knew who their love was, and I had no problem with it. But all those people have been great. I haven't heard from many of them yet. I've stayed away from the media other than just talking and doing radio stuff in Orlando yesterday. But no, I imagine I have love for them. I know they got some love for me, but there may be a little bitterness there because I wore a couple other jerseys. But I tried to stay. No big deal. Going back to LA too was a thing. No, that's where I grew up. I grew up as a high school kid down there. And what I was trying to do is I went down to LA and I was trying to end my career in front of my parents. And that's what I got to do. It just so happened to play. I just so happened to play for 4 years down there.
That's really cool. I mean, I lost my dad a couple years ago. So, doing stuff for your parents means a lot. And you get a chance to see your kids. Did you, during any of the recruiting process, cross paths with Tony Vitello, with your son? I don't know, like the new Giants manager?
No, Tony, son of a bitch, Tony. The reason why I say that is because I'm sitting in the stands and my boy A&M lost to Tony's team, Tennessee, in the College World Series. Oh. That's the only reason why I have a problem with Tony. But let me tell you about Tony. I wanted my boy to play for Tony. Not at the beginning. Caden wanted to go to A&M, didn't want to play for UT, didn't want to go to Texas. He wanted to play for A&M. He went and played for Schlossnagle at A&M, and then they ended up going to the World Series in Tennessee. A&M won the first game, best of 3 series, won the first game in the College World Series in Omaha. And then Tennessee, Tony fired their team up, and he's such a firecracker. I was nervous, man, because I knew Tony would fire his players up, and he did. They beat A&M 2 games in a row. The boys lost. So I could tell my boy, you're a Game 7 loser too, brother. Tony did it. I'm happy for Tony. I would have bet my house he wasn't going to go to San Francisco. So Posey pulled this one out of his hat, which is impressive to me. But I got a feeling Tony is smart enough to know that he needs to make some professional adjustments, deal with these professional attitudes because we got them. And it won't surprise me if he's able to do that and get the best out of his players. Tony's got a lot of fire. He loves the game. I saw him the other day in Orlando. I actually hugged the guy. That's how much I appreciated him and wished him luck. He may need a haircut rather than a hair clip, but other than that, he's a good dude. I like him, and I think he's going to do well if he makes those adjustments. Because college baseball, SEC baseball is crazy. Now, you take that, which he knows well, you take that straight to the big leagues without any professional experience. It's a different animal, but it's still baseball, still got to coach the game. And I imagine he's smart enough. And this is what I appreciate about him. I imagine he's smart enough to make the adjustments.
I love that. You referenced Dusty a couple times in some of your answers. What was it about Dusty? I mean, I know he was a hitting coach prior to becoming the manager, and I've got a chance to meet him. He's just so down to earth. But what was it about Dusty for you that kind of unlocked things?
He knew how to communicate with me on my level. You can't talk to me and talk to Barry on the same level. Can't do it. JT Snow, Richard Will, you can't do it. Can't do it. Sorry. And he would tell you to your face, I can't treat you the same way I treat him. There's just no way. I can't do it. So look, this is what I'm going to do for you. And he knew how to do that. He knew how to bring you in. He knew how to make you feel like you owed him, and you owed him by giving him your best on the field. And he was able to do that for me. He was a friend. He was a commander. He was a guy that you didn't want to disappoint because of that friendship. And he was a guy that knew that, you're playing 162 games. You have a bad day today. He says, I'm going to still hug you, but I'm going to kick you in the ass because I know you can handle it. And I want you to go out there and do it again. Let's go. And he was that kind of guy for me that really allowed me to be fearless on the field because I didn't have to fear him. Because I knew he was on my side. And, those are some of the attributes that I think make him one of the best managers that I've ever saw.
Incoming member of the National Baseball Hall of Fame, Jeff Kent, joining us here on the Morning Roast. NL MVP with the Giants in 2000, five-time All-Star, four-time Silver Slugger Award winner. And real quick, I got to give out a keyword for this hour to qualify for your chance to win 3 Warriors jerseys, one of 3 jerseys, I should say. Text the keyword Steiny to 20357. That's Steiny to 20357. And Jeff, you're talking about Tony Vitello. Has Buster Posey reached out to you at all about a particular role with the team, coaching, front office, anything like that?
No, I gave him a rip yesterday as they were asking me about San Francisco. And I said, hey, I'm a dad first, and my boy plays for the Yankees, so I wear a Yankees hat right now in support of my boy. And I asked Buster, who was sitting in the audience during the press conference, say, hey, man, you got a problem with me wearing a Yankees hat if you want me on the field? And anyway, we were just ripping on each other a little bit. I saw him and he shook his hand, and no, he knows I'm going through all this turmoil, this overwhelming moment there in the next day or two. So I imagine we'll talk. But I did some stuff for San Francisco. Don't mind it. Did some stuff for Larry Bear. Good man that controlled the Giants for a while, and he's turned the reins over to Buster. I appreciate Buster. He's a smart kid. I told Buster a long time ago. There's a little regret that I had watching Buster play that I didn't get a chance to play with Buster. I would have liked that. I think he and I are on the same kind of mental level, and I wish him the best. So I don't want to disrupt anything for him, but on down the road, if I got time, no problem. I'd love to. I told him to. I'd love to help him out any way that he wants.
There's a misnomer throughout your career when I watched you that you were a poor defender, and I thought that could not be farther from the truth. If anything, I had coaches say, hey, watch the way Jeff Kent hangs in there to turn 2. Watch it, his footwork. Watch it how he comes through that bag with a strong arm and fires over to first base. You made great strides defensively. What's the thing for you that bugs you about maybe a misnomer about your game? Is it the defense that bugs you? Because I think you were a really good defender, and I don't think you got the credit for it.
Yeah, that did always bug me. And when I started out in my career, the Gold Glove Awards were typically given out to the most, the fan favorite, if you will. The guy that was the most recognizable, not necessarily the best player. So they were giving out Gold Gloves like that. Back in the day, they give out a manager who was leaving at the end of the year. They give him a list of players to vote for, and they just write things on the paper. They kind of did that for the All-Star game too. So it's gotten better where they're giving players deserving Gold Gloves and things like that. So, and I never got recognition when I was early in my career when I was with New York. Started to get more recognition later, but I don't think I ever lost that reputation for some reason. I was a big guy playing in the middle infield, so the stereotype of big guys playing in the middle infield is they're slow, and I could never fight against that, it bugged me because I really cared more about defense than offense. If I struck out 3 times in a game, that pissed me off. But if I made one error, man, that would really tick me off. And for me, that's I worked on it hard. I did the little things. I was in positions that other players weren't in position of. people would say, well, his first step, second step, he wasn't as fast. Well, yeah, my home to first time wasn't very fast, but you can't translate that out on the field. And then if you do, how do you really recognize it when you're in the field going to your backhand or your forehand? Can you really time the how fast one guy is compared to another? You really can't. So, it was a reputation that got started long ago, and I could never kick it.
Yeah, and if you got great instincts and a good first step, you can make up for not being straight line quick, and you had those things. And so, have you thought about who might introduce you into the Hall of Fame? And I hate to put you on the spot here, Jeff, because it's been a great interview, but
put him on the spot. Come on.
Are you going to wear a Giants cap? Giants fans are dying to know.
Well, people asked me that yesterday, and it's the most obvious spot in my career of when my career took off, and I had the most, the most amount of time spent on a team was in San Francisco. I loved it, did a lot of great things there. So, there's probably no doubt that they're going to give me a San Francisco cap, but I'm not worried about it. I think it's obvious. We could kind of keep quiet about it and let it go because it's not my choice. I don't care. But it's obvious because the San Francisco was so awesome, and I loved every minute that I played there. I haven't thought about anything. I'm worried about eating bacon and French toast here in about 20 minutes. So I'm not even thinking about July.
One last question about your boys, because they both played, and what's it like, being a dad from the stands? I mean, watching some of these coaches who think they know everything and the analytics and just where the game is going. And take me through, driving home back in the pickup truck when you're coming back from one of these youth games, you and one of your boys. Is it you just kind of let them do their thing, or that coach doesn't know what he's talking about? Give some of the parents here a little insight into Jeff Kent raising his boys to be ball players.
Well, let me tell you, when I retired, I swore to myself and to my wife, I will not be a Little League coach when I retire. Well, let me tell you, that promise took 2 years and it went out the window. Within 2 years of watching my boys play, I went, you got to be kidding me. There's got to be a better way than this. So for the last 15, 20 years of my boys' lives, I coached them until the last couple years. And, the high school coach used to say, when your son has a bad day, don't rip on him in the car. Just take him to go get an ice cream. I said, to hell with that. So I would rip on my boys all the time, too. So it made them tough. So my wife would have to tell me, too, you got to calm down. You can't do that. Now, I wouldn't beat my boys up, but, they'd probably get an earful from me. But my boys are awesome. Caden, my last son, A&M, plays, with New York right now. He's better prepared for it, I guarantee you. And, you do want to be a good parent. You don't want to live through your kids. I've always tried to understand that point. I don't want to live through my kids. But as a dad, you always want your kids to be better than you. There's only one instinct in the world that a man has of another man being better than you, and it's your kid, your boy. That's the only other man in this world that you want to be better than you, and that's tough trying to train them up. So I wish all the parents good luck out there with that.
I kind of so many ways we can go. Next time we see you, I'm thrilled for you, but I can't imagine how many moms and dads, my son should be playing shortstop and batting leadoff, Jeff. Yeah, I don't know if you know this, but he's better than playing right field and batting ninth. I mean, I get that all the time, and I just go, okay, thanks. I can't imagine, though, when it's coming from a Hall of Famer like yourself.
Yeah, well, sitting your boy on the bench because he does something stupid, that's a hard thing to do, but I had to do it.
Hey, Jeff, great stuff, man. We really appreciate it. Congratulations. Incoming member of the National Baseball Hall of Fame. Induction is going to be next year. Thanks so much for the time this morning, man.
On behalf of all Giants fans, we're thrilled for you, Jeff.
Yeah, thank you, guys. Appreciate it, man.
Have a great day.
There he goes. That's Jeff Kent, courtesy of the River Island.